Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now today is the day we're going to put everything back on the car. Headlights is about to go in, so we're going to show you that now. I'm going to try and do a step-to-step guide on the wiring of the LEDs, although I've already got pre-existing wiring because I already had the LED strips all those months ago. I'll show you those anyway in a little bit more detail, so if you are going to do this, hopefully that will help a little bit. But quite excited to get these back on and show you the results. So yeah, let's crack on with that. So just before I do the installation, what I thought I'd show you very quickly, I'm not sure if I touched on this in the other video, when you are fitting your strips, actually just before I start, I have made a change. I realised just before I've come out to do the installation that I had the wire up here coming up this side, and realised that actually it was supposed to be the other way around. So it's now on this side. So obviously making sure you get it on the correct side so the waterfall will run the correct way when you've got your indicators on. If you don't, it will run the other way and obviously not be correct. Okay, so let's get this done. So before I start installing the headlights back on, what I'm going to show you, this is already pre-existing wire. So basically I have a wire which is coming off the headlight, and that is number, shouldn't get that, number 3. We'll check that is number 3. Yeah, number 3. So I've tapped into number 3 on the headlight and just got basically a wire coming off. Now that is for using the waterfall indicators. I had one on the other side as well, but I've taken it off because I don't need it now, due to the fact that these, the way they're set up, you only need one and it should work both sides, or that's what we're going to discover in a moment. So that's what I've tapped in to use for the waterfall headlights. Moving on to the power side of things, I've got a live and an earth. With this one's the earth. I'm using a pre-existing box which I had for my daylight running lights, so I already had this all wired up, so I'm not going to take it all apart. In terms of, I could just hook up a live, an earth, and do it that way. But let me show you basically where you're going to get the live from. This is in the fuse box. I'll show you that now. I'll just take this off quickly. So we just open this without damaging too much. Let's pop that up. I'm just going to show you under here. So I've got a wire coming off this fuse. So I've lifted this fuse up. I put a wire underneath the fuse and put the fuse back down. And so the wire is just coming off that. The reason for that is this is using your ACC. So when you turn off the car, the box reads that on the LED strips and it switches off your light on the LED switches, lights as well. So using the ACC live, not going straight into the box, into your live feed, or you'll just be constantly on. So that's what you want to do. Let's put that back down. So I've got an ACC live, I've got my earth, and then I've got a setup for the waterfall on the LED strips, and that's basically it. It's pretty simple. The wiring on the strips will be red, black, and you have a blue and a green, and the blue and the green will be going to this wire to create RBG on the, you can also do RBG colors for the indicators as well, so you're going to change the indicator color. And that's basically it. So we're going to get the headlights in now. Right, so just clipped in the headlight power. We're just going to keep the wire for the waterfall LEDs indicators just to one side, and then we're just going to feed this just through and up to mount it into the box, which is here. The box is quite clever. It has two of the connectors running off one, and then the other side, which is going to give you the power, RBG and earth. So we're just going to get this headlight in and just work out the best solution for this to come up and everything to sit nicely. Okay, so we've got that seated. I've just got the wire just tucked in underneath here. Not too bad. I don't think you really see it. It's up really close. But yeah, that looks okay. So we're just going to connect this now to the box. Okay, so this headlight now in, and we've just connected that as well, leaving it a bit of slack. As I say, the good thing is now, if you need to take your headlights out, you can just disconnect this. Before you had to sort of undo your wires, and which are taped up and all sorts, so that's really useful. I'm going to just run that along here. This is where the box is going to sit, and then we've got enough wire. It's just coming under here, so it runs under there. We'll probably put a couple of cable ties over here just to hold that, and enough wire here now to reach essentially the live and all the other wires, live, earth, and so on. So we're just going to strip these down and get everything wired up, and we should be good to turn on. So when you strip the wires, it will look something like this. Be extremely careful. These wires are very, very thin. I used a Stanley knife. Just be very careful. Now the green and the blue, we're going to wrap those together, and that is going to your indicator. So that's running off your main headlight. That's that wire that we've run there for the indicators, wherever that is, which is here. So that is going to be going to the blue and the green. The red is going to go to your ACC, which is from your fuse box that I showed you on the fuse that I lifted up, and I put the wire in and then put the fuse back. So that's your ACC, and then obviously the black is going to go to your ground. So let's get these hooked up. So we'll just make sure the indicators are working okay. No hyper flashing. If you get hyper flashing, it's just because you haven't wired everything up yet, or you've wired it incorrectly. So that's the indicators running. Difficult to see in the light, but it is running. And hopefully the right way. We'll do a bit more of some shots later on this evening. But they are up and running. As I say, it's too difficult to see right now. You've got your box, so you can change different colours. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this. You can actually change the colour of, yeah, you might see that it's red, green, sort of blue, purple. So you can actually change the colour of the indicator strip as well, which is pretty funky. Now, the reason why I went for this option over the Bluetooth option is because on the Bluetooth you can't wire up the indicators. You only have black and red. So if you are going to go for a Bluetooth option, you won't be able to use the indicators to have the line. So just to let you know on that, that's why I went for this. Yeah, it's a bit cumbersome having something like this knocking around, but Hopefully that makes sense. So just testing the other side. Indicator works fine, but no flashing on this side of the headlight. I didn't think it was going to work, so we're going to have to tap in to the other side and bring it across to number 3 here, which isn't too bad. We'll just get that done now. Okay, so I just tapped into that very simply using the connectors. We've got the just tapped into the wire coming off the headlight there on number 3. I'm just going to run this wire all the way over here, and we're going to tap into this one. Okay, so we're going to test it first. Got hyper flashing simply because we haven't got it plugged in. We're going to test it onto number 3. Hopefully we get these moving. Yes. Difficult to see, but they're moving. So that makes that work, which is fantastic. So we're going to plug this in now and complete the installation. Right, so tapped into that. We're now going to plug the headlight back into the LED strips. We're going to plug the main power into the headlight, and hopefully we'll have now 2 working LEDs that will produce also the indicator waterfall lights. Right, before I get everything up, close the bonnet, or get onto the next part of this, let's test it all. Right, let's see. One LED strip working, other one, so that's great. Let's get the no hyper flashing. That is producing I can see it on that side, same on that side. No hyper flashing there. So I would say that completes the installation. We'll get obviously some nice shots later on, and if you're wondering, I've got a surprise for you, but we'll look at that later. So you're looking at about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I'll certainly give yourself enough time. Obviously we haven't really focused on the fact that this is now gloss black, a bit more in keeping with the car. And now I've just got to get, with that installation completed, I'm now going to be able to put everything back together, get the grille on, and as I say, I've got something to show you next. So that completes the LED strips. We'll do some more shots later on when it's a bit darker. That's the gloss black eyebrows, and I think that's so much more in keeping with the car and blends so much better. So I'm really glad I did it. I was a little bit worried, but we got there in the end. And now watch out for the next video. So welcome back. It's now night time. To give you a better idea of what I've done today is the following. mentioned in my video about having the LED lights or the LEDs facing this way. Now that's going to give you a slightly different light diffusion from them. If you flip them the other way around, you probably get more of a bar look. Depends what you're looking for, really. I wouldn't go as far as saying that these are really DLRs. I don't think they're bright enough and produce the best of light during the day. At night, yeah, absolutely, they look pretty good. And you get a choice of colours and they do various things. But in terms of the actual DLR option, or the suggestion of being DLR, I don't think they're bright enough during the day. But obviously this is good for things like a show, or you're out with your mates. Then I think they're pretty good. So when you got it on the white setting, it produces an orange flow on the indicators. Obviously I've got the hazard lights on just to show you both sides. Everything in sync. So when you are doing a left or right turn, those will determine as well. They will flash the way you're going. You can also change the colour of those. So you can have those flashing a different colour. And then if I go back to the white setting, or we can go orange, go to white. So it gives you quite a few options. So it works pretty well. Hi everybody, welcome back. Hopefully you like the video of the installation. It's a little bit bitty, just because I mean I'm no expert on electrical. I've kind of just gone through it. I'm trying to give you a little bit of step-by-step guidance, but obviously do your own research, and hopefully you'll find it reasonably easy to install yourself. It's not that difficult, to be fair. But in terms of the actual product itself, it's not bright enough during the day to be classed as a DLR. It doesn't produce obviously that high white glow that you will see on most cars that are driving around with DLRs on, and it's nowhere near as bright as the original strips that I had on the car, which was obviously a pure white. So for me, I think I'm probably going to go back to my original strips. I think they look cracking at night, and you do have that kind of variety of colours. But as I say, it's more of something that you would maybe be out with your mates or a show, or I mean, essentially something like that on the front of the car, certainly on the headlights, you're not going to be able to drive around with. You just get pulled, so it's just not worth it. And I really like, now I've done the halos. I think the white and that combination will work really well together. So I probably have just mentioned halos, which is in my next video after this. But yeah, essentially that's where I'm leading. I'm probably not going to keep them on. They're on at the moment, but as the weekend builds comes along, I'm probably going to change them back or change them again. They're not really for me in terms of a day-to-day driving, which is what I use this car for. I would prefer to have a really bright DLR white glow light on the headlights, rather than what essentially is something that you can have on. They're just not very bright. But hopefully you like the video anyway, so I appreciate your time. And check out the next one. We're going to put that up ASAP, because both of them kind of combine together. So I'll catch you in a few. Thanks for watching.